Testing one. What's the matter? This laptop also, it's always cold. It's so weird. It takes time. I just sent you you better put your WhatsApp, turn it off the phone, turn off the computer.
Put it on purpose.
Yeah, but the problem is, watch this.
No, I understand.
I just sent you the link. Okay, it's on.
Sorry, not canceled.
He said sure. Week before that, there was a share. The week before that, there was not a share.
I'm not gonna be here, I probably need to do a journal.
Next week?
You mean next Sunday?
Boy.
See, I put it away, I bet it skipped too much.
I thought it was good.
No, it's gonna be it though. I agree. Amazing live share.
What?
Yeah, amazing live
Everybody
share.
will log in wherever they are and
The test today? I would do that, yeah. I would do,
30-something years since I started writing answers.
whatever, but we
in LA.
LA?
Still do it.
I know they're in LA. Is it?
I wanna know what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is it past the boundary?
It's supposed to be.
Oh, I still trying to figure out what we're supposed to be up to.
What?
So it's not, yeah, the committee.
That's what I did.
Call me when you need
You got great habits.
Mike wants to tell me, but what? It's okay.
That's a good place to go.
What did we do? You and me, this year.
Everything else can
Totally.
like,
Like you see,
How you?
No one lands in Orlando.
your own little world. So you understand? This guy, this.
Much better.
Well, some. I can't speak for the rest of the world, and I can't change it.
What's this? What is this doing here?
Does this belong to anybody? Ever do it? Yeah, that's the last year. Still there. My kids.
Looks like it. That's a testing, isn't it? Guess so. I don't even know what it test it.
What are you so worried about?
I want to, yeah. Who did it?
Oh, I see you got this.
I got it. Oh, you guys live in Africa? Sounds nice.
Really good. It's literally the only information I have.
That would have been had. Oh, it's modern.
Clippers and Lakers are Yeah.
Next century. Oh, you must be a fool. Coming right now. Oh, let's see. Jordan, good morning. Were you here? Obviously, I wasn't. You were here for Shabbos?
I was here for Shabbos.
Nobody's
Nobody's coming.
What?
Nobody's coming.
Have you been learning?
What?
HOA.
We done last week one time. His schedule's very rough now. He's got his job. He's working in some nursing home. He's got a job.
Are you keeping up with it?
I don't know where we're supposed to be up.
Oh, you know we're up. We did Mexican history.
What? Where are we supposed to be up? Seriously, where are we supposed to be up?
We did Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Test, Yud, as well as design.
We did the best you design already.
You didn't test? Test and Yud, of course we did. That's the shame.
I did. I'm going in order, Colin.
Order?
Look at so.
I didn't do Vav yet.
I did it. I went in order. I did. Design. I didn't do tests. I mean, he brought down one. He didn't go through the whole thing.
Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Yud, Tes Yud, Tes Vav, and Tes Zayin.
No, I didn't do the test here in design. He quotes.
Of course you did. Yes, you did. It's Dalet, Tes Vav, and Tes Zayin go together.
He wanted one thing down this year. It's not like I learned English.
Oh, but you know the notes? The notes tell you Tes Yud, Dalet, Tes Vav, and Tes Zayin go together.
You know, I had to look at the notes. The students should put outside.
You guys do the notes because the program brings a lot of authority. What? 50, no, 7 years.
No, 50 something. Sounds
Yeah, my son got.
That sounds good, right?
You go.
Up to,
He's not. First yard side.
I'm thinking the Shiro. He's a Rebbe, nice Rebbe in medicine. Many years, decades. I'll have pencil. Pencil? Really short, Good seat. A good seat. Is this a good seat? I think this is a good seat. It's a very good seat. That's why I took it. Why so? Oh, that's.
Yeah, like built down.
Martin Luther King Day, I know. I almost took the day off of Martin Luther King. No, I mean, because that's the sheep is. Oh, this. Remember those days? What? Remember those days?
No, 70.
In yesterday's township, we have a special mitzvah. Sinners with no for that. Via the smoke.
Yeah. Turim, yeah.
From our Pietri days. We were Matzik Shabbos. We weren't Okay.
It's always good to see you, Rebbe. Okay. Thank you.
How's get Chaz chip?
You were with Josh Shabbos?
What?
You were with Josh Shabbos?
I don't know.
You did?
Apologize. I don't know I was supposed to.
No,
No,
I
I'm
was
kidding.
kidding.
No. My shirt was in town, so I felt bad for you.
Okay.
I apologize, there's no test there, it was misunderstanding. I won't relax.
Now I know no one's here. Okay.
We got a lot of work to do. Baruch Hashem, I went to Eretz Yisrael with a number of Rabbanim, many of whom are participating in this program. So we're not too far behind, but we've got to move a little bit quicker. So 2 hours, I don't know about that, but maybe less questions. And again, I'm available always outside of Shir for as any questions or any discussion that a person wants to engage in. So we've finished a very significant aspect of Hilchos Bishul, and that is the oraisas of Bishul. At what point a person is considered to be mivashel, to cook a different item. We discussed the concepts of ein bishul, achar bishul. We discussed when is there bishul, kli rishon, kli sheni, kli shlishi, irui, all these different concepts. This is all discussing the din d'oraisa of bishul when I am cooking. So when I am considered to be cooking a specific item. Now we are going to transition not to the din d'oraisa of bishul, but the dinim derabanan of bishul. That is to say that in addition to the isser to be mivashel on Shabbos, to actually cook something on Shabbos, Chazal came and prohibited many different actions, not because you are cooking. For whatever reason, it's not considered cooking. It's not hot enough, the food's already cooked, whatever it might be. But the act that you are doing does look like you're cooking, and therefore Chazal were very concerned that if you're allowed to do that act, either you yourself or someone else will see that and will ultimately come to do something which is cooking. So therefore that is considered to be the isser of mechzei ke mevashel, which is going to begin with Simin Shin Yud Ches, Siv Zayin, and Siv Ches. But first we have to take a look at the Gemara in the Smichas Chaver on Daf Mem Amud Beis. The Gemara in Smichas Chaver in Makom 56 says the following. Page 18 in your Marmakaimis. The Gemara writes the following: Tanu Rabbanon, maybe Adam Kitoin Mayim, a person could bring a bottle, a jug of water, Umenichoi Keneged Hamidura, and place it next to a bonfire. A person has a Medura. Medura is a big bonfire, and obviously there's a tremendous amount of heat and warmth going on around that bonfire. So you have your bottle of cold water, so you want to heat it up a little bit. So says the Gemara, you're allowed to put your cold water not on top of the fire, not in the fire, but you can put it next to the fire, and the secondary heat which emerges from the fire will heat up the bottle. You're allowed to do it. Not so that you will end up cooking the item. You can't put it in a place that it will end up cooking the item. You can't cook the item even though it's not on the flame. That, of course, would be an Isser D'Oraisa of Bishul. The Dinim D'Oraisa of Bishul are not changing anymore. We already know that if you have something which is not cooked and you put it in heat, which is coming from a fire, and that heat which comes from the fire turns the item into a cooked item, that's the Din D'Oraisa of Bishul. Nothing in the world could shake that. Nothing in the world could move that. Says the Gemara, what we're talking about over here is not the Din D'Oraisa of Bishul, but the Din D'Rabbanan of Bishul. Dahainu, that for whatever reason, it's not considered to be cooking. Most notably, the Gemara says, because you're not letting it cook. All you're trying to do is remove the chill from the water. Therefore, the Gemara says that will be mutter. To put it next to the flame in order to remove the chill from the water is mutter. And we have to analyze what exactly is this heter the Gemara is giving us. So if you were to take a look at Rashi in Smichas Chaver on Daf Mem Amud Beis, Rashi is very clear that why is this water not heating up? Why is this water in fact not cooking? Simply because you remove it before it gets cooked. So according to Rashi, what's going on over here? We're allowing you to take water that was not cooked yet, and it's cold. It will be cooking. If you bring it to Yatzaledis bowl, that would be a din d'oraisa of cooking. And we allow you to put it not on the flame, but we allow you to put it next to the flame because you're going to remove it before it gets to the level of cooking. So Rashi's telling you, you're allowed to put something next to a flame, and we trust that you will take it away before it becomes cooked. So it's not cooking midaraisa, it never reaches Yatzel Edisbo. It's not mechse kemevashel derabanan because it's not on the flame, it's merely next to the flame. According to Rashi, again, you have to deal with the deraisa, you have to deal with the derabanan. The deraisa is dealt with because it's not bringing to Yatzel Edisbo. The derabanan is dealt with because it's not on the flame, it's simply next to the flame. However, Rashi seems to be the odd man out in understanding this Gemara. If you take a look at the Rashba and the Rosh and this Gemara, Smichas Chaver, Daf Mem Amud Beis, they seem to be a bit more machmer than Rashi. Take a look at the Rashba in Marmakum 57, Shabbos Daf Mem Amud Beis. Says the Rashba, Ve'afa pisha osru lahachzir al gabe kira she'ena grufa. V'litin lichatchila filu begrufa ktuma v'afilu davar cham umevushel ligamrei. Says the Rashba, I don't understand what's going on over here. How are we allowing you to put something which is not cooked, namely the water, even though it's not on the flame? Aren't you concerned that it will end up cooking? You'll violate a din deraisa. So you're all nervous about a din derabanan, a mechse kimivashel, and that we circumvent by not putting it on the flame, but next to the flame. Says the Rashba, you have a much bigger issue than the din derabanan of mechse kimivashel. You have the din deraisa. You're going to end up cooking over there. Says the Rashba, Hasam hainu taima mishum de mechse kimivashel lefishe derech bishubekach. Aval keneged hamiduro bekli rishon she'ein darkom shebnei adam levashel ken roiv hape'amim einoi nire kimivashel elo kimafik tzino. Says the Rashba, why over here are we allowing it? We are allowing it over here simply because this is not derech ha-mivashel. So you're allowed to put a pot of cold water next to the bonfire to remove the chill, according to the Rosh and the Rajra, only in a place which will not become only in a place which it will not become fully cooked. If it will not become fully cooked, so therefore it can't reach a level of Yatzel Edisbo. And since no one cooks on the side of a flame, so therefore you have no problem of mechse kimivashel whatsoever. So that's how the Rashba seems to learn, and the Shulchan Aruch seems to paskin like the Rashba. Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch in Sif Tes Vav. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Dover shen is bashal Tes Vav. Dover shen is bashal kol tzarchai. So you have something which is entirely cooked. Vihu yavish, and it's dry. She'ein by marak, there's no liquid. Mutar lahanicho kineged hamidura. You could put it next to the bonfire. Afilu b'makom she'yatzel edisbo. Even in a place where we'll reach Yatzel Edisbo. Why? Why is there no problem of an Isser Daraisa of Bishul if it reaches Yatzel Edisbo, Rabbi Isai? Because Ein Bishul Acher Bishul, it's a Davar Yavish. Why is there no problem of a Din Darabanan of Mechse Kimivashal? Because it's not on the fire, it's next to the fire. So you always have to deal with the Din Daraisa and the Din Darabanan. Comes the Ramah Haga, Va'afidul Nitztanin Kvar. Even if it's already been cooled off. Avalim hu reisayach afilu bidavar sheyesh by marak mutter. Says the Ramah, the only reason we're only being makel when it comes to a davar yavesh is because we're assuming that it's cooked, that it's cooled off already. But if you have a davar lach, a liquid which has been cooked and is yet to cool off, what do we call that? Loi nitztanin, it hasn't cooled off. And since it hasn't cooled off, what will we say when it comes to a liquid? Ein bishul achar bishul afilu bidavar lach. Even by a liquid, because it has not cooled off. So therefore, says the Ramah, if I have a liquid which has not cooled off, so too I use the same two criteria. How do I get around the Isser bishul daraisa? Ein bishul achar bishul. It's already cooked. How do I get around the Isser bishul derabanan of mechse kimivashel? I don't put it on the flame. I simply put it next to the flame. Continues the Ramah. V'yesh mekilin loymar. And there are those that even go more further and are more mekel loymar. Dichol she'ein noisno al gabe ha'esh. Oy hakira mamish. Anyone who doesn't put it directly on the fire or into the oven or on top of the stove. Rak somechlo, just next to it. Afilu nitztanen, even if it's cooled off. Mutter. Who is that? That, yeah, even the liquid. Who is that? That's Shitas Rashi. V'nogu lahakol b'zeh im loy nitztanen legamre. U'kamoy shekosavti la'el simen reish nun gimel. So there is a machlokes whether a person is allowed to put next to a flame even a davar lach. Again, the Ramah says if it's cooked already and has not cooled off, so then we are allowed to do it because we paskin ein bishul achar bishul when it comes to a davar lach. Take a look at the Mishnah Brura in Sifkot and Sadi Beis. Says the Mishnah Brura explaining just how we have explained. The first Mishnah Brura in Sif Tezvav and Sifkot and Sadi Beis says the Chafetz Chaim. Dover shenisbashel hatam dikev and shekvar nisbashel, since it's already been cooked. Shuv ein bazem mishum chash bishul. There is no problem of bishul. Umiyo. So if there's no problem of bishul, why do I have to put it next to the flame? Why can't I put it on top of the flame? Why can't I put it mamish on the stove or in the oven? Says the Mishnah Brura, just like we explained. Umiyu al ha'esh mamish oser midrabanan mipnei shenire kimivashal, because it looks like bishul. Aval b'zeh shema'amidoi kineged hamidura. But if you just put it next to the flame and not on the flame, she'ein derech b'nei adam b'roiv pa'amim levashal kach. Again, how is Rabbi say very important? How is the Chafetz Chaim being magdir? What's derech bishul and what's not derech bishul? He's very clear. She'ein derech b'nei adam b'roiv pa'amim levashal kach afilu isid rabbanon leka. V'ayim meshekasavnu lekamei b'shem arash esover desamuch medura gamkin aser el tzarech laharchik tzad. So we're going like the Shita of the Rashba. The Shita of the Rashba holds that so long as the item is pre-cooked and therefore there is no Isser Deraisa of Bishul. There's no Isser Deraisa of Bishul because ain't Bishul Achar Bishul. By a Davar Yavesh, even if it's cooled off. By a Davar Lach, only if it hasn't cooled off. So I've already taken care of, because of the first 10 shiurim, I've taken care of there's no Isser Deraisa of Bishul. Here the Shulchan Aruch is introducing to us that even if you circumvented the Isser Deraisa of Bishul, it will still be usher to put on the flame, on the heat source, whatever it may be, because of an Isser Derabanan of Mechse Kimevashal, which can only be circumvented based on what we know from the Gemara. Can only be circumvented if a person puts it kineged hamedura, not on the flame, not in the oven, but kineged hamedura. Why is kineged hamedura allowed? Why is kineged hamedura allowed? So the Mishnah Brura tells us it's not mechse kimevashel. Okay, that the Gemara says. Why is it not mechse kimevashel? Very important. Mishum she'roiv b'nei adam roiv pe'amim. Most people roiv pe'amim. This is not the derech bishul. So the question we always have to ask ourselves is, first of all, is it an Isser Deraisa bishul? No, it's cooked already. Now I want to know, is it an Isser Derabanan? Well, is this a normal way of cooking? So with that in mind, let's take a look a little bit deeper into the Shita of the Shulchan Aruch. Going back to Siv Zayin and Siv Ches in the Shulchan Aruch. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Yesh Mefarshim, there are those that learn. We know that those that allow for you to put something which is still hot on top of a flame which is covered, by a blech, afilu kli hatachton, or covered by another pot, afilu kli hatachton ala eish shari, even if the bottom kli, says the Shulchan Aruch, is on the fire, you're allowed to put something on top of that bottom kli. B'yesh mefarshim shem kli hatachton al ha'esh le'olam aser. Here the Shulchan Aruch is bringing a very important machlokes. Shulchan Aruch is telling us that there is a machlokes whether a person is allowed to put something, to heat up something on top of another pot. What we hold al gabe hakidera. And the Shulchan Aruch says, let's say until now we've learned that you can't warm something up, even if it's entirely cooked. There will not be an Isser D'Oraisa bishul. You still cannot put it on top of the fire because of an Isser D'Rabbanan, because of Mechsei Mivasha. So says the Shulchan Aruch, let's say I have a pot, I have a flame on a stove, right? My stove, the flame is on. Now I have a pot of cholent on the stove. Okay, that was there from before Shabbos. Everything's okay. Now I want to come and put a cooked item on top of that pot of cholent. Says the Shulchan Aruch, it is a machlokes. Is that enough that you're putting it on top of a pot? Is that enough to circumvent the problem of mechse kemevasha? We know kineged hamedura. If it's not on the flame, it's good enough. If it's not on top of the flame. So here, on the one hand, it's directly on top of the flame. On the other hand, there's something in between it and the flame, the other pot. So is that considered to be mechshek mevashel or not? Says the Shulchan Aruch, it's 2 days. It's 2 days. There are those that say it's muster. V'yesh mefarshim shem kli atachton al eish le'olam aser. There are those that say that it is a problem. Continues the Shulchan Aruch in Siv Ches. Says the Shulchan Aruch, lahaniach davar kar sheniz bashal kol tzarchoi al gabe meicham shal ha'eish, to put something which is cold, which has entirely been cooked, but it's cooled off, but it's nispashal kol tzarchoi, and I want to put it on top of a pot, which is on top of a flame. Yesh oimim shedino kimenichu kineged hamedura. There are those that understand that it's as like you're putting it opposite the flame, and therefore it's not mechseh chemivasho. V'chol davar shemutar lanicho kineged hamedura, and anything which is mutter to put opposite the flame, because there's no problem of bishul d'oraisa. There's only a problem bishul d'Rabbanan, and I'll circumvent the Isser bishul d'Rabbanan by putting it next to the flame. So b'makom sheyatza ledis bo kigon sheyavesh mutar lanichoy al gabe meicham shal gabe eish v'yesh oimrim da'ave kimeniach al gabe kira lechatchila ve'aser afilu im nizbashal kol tzarcho va'afilu im itztamek viralo. Even if it's going to get worse by being on the flame, why? Because it's mechsei kimivasha. Va'afilu im noisni sham lishmar chaymai v'rishoy nira ikar. Says the mechaber, who am I paskening like? I'm paskening like litzad ha-mekel. Umikol makom im utav shel sheyesh bayroitev umitztamek v'yafeloi aser ledivrei hakol. If it's something which has liquid and will continue to make it better, so then it's certainly going to be aser. So what's the Shulchan Aruch passing like over here? The Shulchan Aruch seems to be passing very clearly that he allows, like the first daya, that not only there are 2 ways to get around mechsei kimivasha. Again, how to get around the Isser D'Oraisa that we've already dealt with, right? We're assuming you're getting around the Isser D'Oraisa. Now we're only talking about the Isser D'Rabbanan and mechsei kimivasha. The Gemara gives us one way out, that is to put it kineged hamedura. Now the Shulchan Aruch is bringing a machlokes about a second way out, and he's paskening for us that we could be mekel in the second way out, and that is not only to put it kineged hamedura would be mutter, not mechsei kimivasha, but even to put it on top of a pot, which is on top of a pot, which is on top of a flame. So that as well is okay. That is not a problem of mechsei kimivasha. Now again, you have to be 100% clear that everything is already cooked. If there's any Isser D'Oraisas, so then there's nothing to talk about. Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch in Sif Yud Zayin and Sif Yud Tes. The Shulchan Aruch is very clear. Aser litin tsoinein al hamecham, afilu lahafshir kol hamecham. you can't put anything which is cold on top of this pot, on top of the fire, even if you don't want to bring it to Yatsa Ledisbo, because even though your intention is not to cook it, but at the end of the day, if you would leave it there, it would become Yatsa Ledisbo, and it would be cooking, says the Shulchan Aruch. That's going to be also. Harbe hayabali de bishul dahainu sheyiya yatsa ledisboy shedin meniach al gabe mechem kedin meniach keneged hamidura vim eino cham kokach mutter. Similarly, says the Shulchan Aruch in Yudches, ha'ilfis v'akedera shavira meroischem al gabe haor im loy nizbashal kol tzarcho ein motzi mekaf mehem. Okay, sorry, Yudches. Also, sorry, Yudches. We'll get back to. Let's go to Yudches for a second. Also, latuach shemen ushum. Al hatzli ba'oide keneged ha medura afilu nitz latzimi b'odyoid mikomakam yizbashal hashum v'ashem. And if there's any oil which is not yet cooked, or there's any garlic which has not yet been cooked, it's also to put it in a place where it will become yantzo ledispo. It's not on the flame. It's keneged ha medura. Rabbi say keneged ha medura. Not on the flame only helps you get around the Isser Darabanan of Mechse Kimivashal. It does not help you get around an Isser Daraisa of Bishul Mamish. So therefore, Rabbi say, we always have to ask ourselves two questions. When I want to do something in the kitchen, when I want to put something, change something in the kitchen, most notably, when I want to heat something up in the kitchen, there are two questions I have to ask myself. I have to ask myself what I am about to do. Is that an Isser D'Oraisa of Bishul? Am I cooking something? So the answer to that will be, yes, I'm cooking, unless it's already pre-cooked and it's something which is dry. Or it's already pre-cooked, and even though it's a liquid, it has not cooled off yet. If any of the answer to any of those is, no, it hasn't been cooked yet, so forget about it. There's nothing you could do. There's no place you could put that it will be okay. Even if you want to tell me I'm going to put it in a place which is not directly on the fire, and I'm going to take it off before it becomes cooked, we don't trust you to do that. The Shulchan Aruch was clear. If I put something which is yet to be cooked in a place where theoretically it can be cooked, if I leave it there, even if my intention is not to leave it there, but it can be cooked, if I were to leave it there, we do not trust you to take it off, and therefore that would be a violation of Bishul. You're not allowed to put something which has not been cooked in any place where it could possibly be cooked. That's rule number one. But assuming that we've already gone through all those halachas in the first number of shiur, and we know that there's no problem of real Bishul over here, probably because the item has already been cooked. So therefore, the only concern I have is mechsek mivashel. Here we have one clear way to get around mechsek mivashel from the Gemara. That is keneged hamedura, not on top of the flame. And one machlekes rishonim, which is a machlekes in Shulchan Aruch, which the Shulchan Aruch seems to be makel, and that is, even if I don't put it next to the flame, because let's say it won't get that hot next to the flame, I want to put it on the flame, but in between the food and the flame is a pot, al gabe hamechom, what the Shulchan Aruch says, what we would call al gabe hakidera, so that I circumvented the Isser D'Oraisa because it's already cooked. I circumvented the Isser D'Rabbanan according to this shita because this is not a normal way of cooking. Who cooks on top of a pot? We cook on top of a fire. Since this is not a normal way of cooking, ein derech bishul bekach, and therefore it's not mechse kimivashel, and it would be permitted. The problem becomes, let me just finish this section. The problem becomes, what is the nature of this pot that we're talking about? Because if you take a look, until now, the Shulchan Aruch seems to be 100% clear that on top of the kedera, there's 2 dayas. On top of a pot, am I allowed to heat something up? 2 dayas, but we can be mekel. But if you were to take a look back in Siman Reish Nun Gimel, Rabbi said, back to Erev Shabbos, in Siman Reish Nun Gimel, let's go, okay, say there. Reish Nun Gimel Gimel. Reish Nun Gimel Gimel. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Hamashkim Baboiker, a person wakes up in the morning, V'rosh ekticha tavshiloi, and the cholent smells excellent, a little too good. Like the cholent smells like it's ready, right? It's not supposed to smell that good in the morning, right? Because we still have 3 hours, right? Depending on how long the rosh drasha is, maybe 4 hours. We have a while till we're actually trying to eat. So what are we going to do? It looks like the tavshil is going to burn. It's going to burn more. You could put a kedera there, rekanis. Alpia kira, the ozyasim hakidera shetavshel b'soichal gabe kedera rekanis. So what do? I take it off the flame. I put an empty pot on top of the fire, and I put this cooked item back on top of the empty pot. Says the Shulchan Aruch, v'yizar shelo yasim kederasa gabe karka v'shetia roisachas. But you have to be sure, says the Shulchan Aruch. So let me make it very clear, Rabbi. So what the Shulchan Aruch is saying in Reish and Gimel is, I walk down my steps Shabbos morning on my way out to shul. The cholent smells like it's almost done. So what am I going to do? It's too close to the fire. It's going to burn. Says the Shulchan Aruch, I take the cholent off. I put an empty pot on top of the fire, and then I put the cholent back on top of the empty pot. Why is there no problem of bishul daraisa? The cholent is already cooked, ain't bishul acher bishul. Why is there no problem of bishul darabanan? Because I'm putting it on top of a pot. But says the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Isai, but make sure that pot, that cholent, is not only hot. Says the Shulchan Aruch, v'yizar shelo yarsim al kedera gabe karka v'shetia roi sachas. Make sure that you never put it down on the ground. What does it mean? You never put it down on the ground. It used to be that when you took it off the flame, they wouldn't put it on their counters. Our counters is the equivalent of their ground. They used to put it down on the ground. So the Shulchan Aruch says over here that you can't put it down on the ground, because the minute you put it down on the ground, even though it's already cooked, even though it's still hot, you can't put it back on. Why can't I put it back? I just told you 2 minutes ago in Siman Shin Yud Ches, you take your deli roll out of the fridge. Your deli roll is 100% cooked. There's no davar lach there. I took my deli roll out of the fridge. I want to heat it up. So I can't put it on the fire because it's a derabanan mechsek mivashel. Fine. This deraisa is not a problem. It's because aim bishul acher bishul. But I can't put it directly on the fire because mechsek mivashel. So the Shulchan Aruch gave me 2 eitzes. I can either put it next to the fire. No, but it's not going to get hot enough. So what do? I put it on top of a pot. That was coming from the fridge, Rabbi say. Now the Shulchan Aruch is telling me that I can't put it on top of the pot unless it was in my hands the entire time. I put it down on the floor just to put the other pot on, and now I can't. In Shin Yud Ches, you told me I could take something from the fridge as long as it's cooked and put it on top of a pot. There's no problem. Now you're telling me I can't put it on top of a pot. For 2 seconds, I put it on the ground, and now I can't put it back on top of the pot. It's a steer in Shulchan Aruch. Is on top of the pot an isser of mechsek and mivashel or not? In Siman Shin Yud Ches, the Shulchan Aruch passed in the kula. When you put it on top of the pot, the pot's on top of the flame, and now you're putting it on top of the pot. Says the Shulchan Aruch, you could be makel, it's not mechsek and mivashel. In Reish and Gimel, the Shulchan Aruch says you have to be machmer unless you were holding onto the pot the entire time. It says the Bir Halacha over there in Reish and Gimel. Take a look at the Bir Halacha in the Bir Halacha in Dibar Maschil v'yizahir shelo yasim. Says the Bir Halacha. V'yizahir shelo yasim, says the Bir Halacha. De'im henichin agabe karka, because if you put it on top of the ground, ein al zeh shem chazara, because then there's no problem. It's not like it's like you never took it off in the first place, because you never let go of it. So if you never took it off, you could put it back. What do you mean? You told us that even if you did take it off, you're allowed to put it back. Gruf uktuma filu arama moed danacha b'Shabbos l'chachila aser. Ulechoira, says the Chavetz Chaim. Ulechoira soiser ha'mechaber es atzmo. It's a contradiction in the Shulchan Aruch. Dilekaman b'sivhei hetik lidinoi es divrei harashba shehuva b'beis yosef b'shem haran perakiro. That's what we just learned. Shekasav b'shmai sham. Demoter litein lechatchila b'Shabbos. The afshe hakadera tachtoina oimedes al ha'esh Kevan shehi mafsekes umaymin hakadera aleo ein derech bishul mekach in Shin Yud Ches. And later on in Reish Gimel, the Chafetz the Shulchan Aruch told me that as long as it's on top of a pot, it's not mechzek mivashel, and therefore I'm allowed to take it out of the fridge and put it directly on top of a pot. And now he's telling me that unless I was holding on the whole time, so it's as if I never took it off, so then I'm allowed to. But otherwise, the minute I take it off, I can't put it back on, even on top of a pot. Why can't I put it on top of a pot? There's no problem with mechzek mivashel. There's no problem with bishul. It's already mevushel. What's the problem? Says the Mishnah Berurah, and how you answer this question will make all the difference in your world and your every single week in Shabbos in your own kitchen. How you answer this stira in the Mechaber, in the Shulchan Aruch. So how does the Mishnah Berurah answer the stira? Comes the Mishnah Berurah, Vadifa Mekira Grufa Kira. We'll get to it. We have to go step by step. V'have k'maimed neged hamidura. Demuter af b'Shabbos im hayam mevushel kol tzarka. U'me'atzasi b'dagul miravava. Who wrote the Dagul Miravava? Who wrote the Dagul Miravava? The Noida Yehuda. Says the Dagul Miravava, I have a stira in Shulchan Aruch. Stira in Shulchan Aruch. What am I going to do about the stira in Shulchan Aruch? Says the Dagul Miravava, shenirchet b'zeh. He's stuck. What do you do when the Mechaber contradicts himself? It's a big problem, right? So the Dagul Miravava says we got to figure out an answer over here. And this answer will make all the difference in the world, because one place he says I can't put it on top of a pot. One place he says I can't put it on top of the pot. So when am I allowed to? When am I not allowed to? Says the Noida Yehuda, shenircha b'zeh v'kosav de'efsher de'amechaber somach atzmo svaras haran de'kevan she'ein padish darko lafoisal gabe kira yesh lahakol b'zeh v'udoicha gadol. Says the Mishnah Berurah, he makes a differentiation between what type of food it is. It's a big doicha. The mechaber le'svir like klal shitas around the dino. K'mosh kasam Magen Avraham chemuchach b'bir hagra the Tama Shulchan Aruch is feed like shitas a Rashba. We all like the Rashba. Achar kach matzasi b'prima gadim sheyishiv zu akushi. How does the prima gadim answer this kasha? B'tuv tam. V'hu. How does the prima gadim answer the steer in Shulchan Aruch? The b'sif hey she'ayri ma'ed the medes al gabe kederes chamin oy tavshil loy nechshav klal ka'omer al gabe kira. Ulahachi mutter aflitin lechatchila b'Shabbos. Mashe enkem b'inyonenu shehakedera reikonis va'oimedes rak listoimes choim hakira shelo yekol kachoim nasis hakira al yedei rak kishar kira grufuk tuma the oser litin alev b'Shabbos tavshil lechatchila. Ube'emes im haya oimed sham b'bo yom kedera sheyesh bo tavshil haya muter litin alel chulei alma kedera zu af b'Shabbos lechatchila. The Chafetz Chaim, quoting the Prima Gadim, gives us a gewaltige answer, Rabbi Yisai. Beautiful. Says the Shulchan Aruch, we have a stira. Sometimes the Shulchan Aruch allows us to put food, to reheat food, to warm food up on top of a pot. He says you're mutter, it's allowed to. And sometimes he holds that it's aser. When does he hold it's mutter? When does he hold it's aser? Says the Chafetz Chaim, says the Prima Gadim, you have to look at the details of the case. Shulchan Aruch is not soiser himself. Look at the details of the case, they're very different. In one case, the bottom pot is empty, and in one case, the bottom pot is full. In Shin Yud Ches, when the Shulchan Aruch said you could put it on top of a pot, that was talking about a pot that was full, a pot that was on a cholent, that was on the flame, and now I want to heat up my deli roll, so I take my deli roll, I put it on top of the cholent, that's allowed. Who cooks on top of another pot that's full? Right, there's a pot that's full of cholent, and I put my deli roll on top of the pot that's full of cholent. That's not derech b'bishul. That's not mechzek mivash. But what are we talking about in Shinration and Gimel? My cholent's on the flame, and now all I want to do is make it a little more distant from the flame. So I take an empty pot, no food in there. If there's food in there, it would be aser. I take an empty pot from my pantry, from the closet. I put it on top of the flame. And then I put the cholent back on. That pot is not full of food, and therefore we don't look at it as a pot. All we look at it as a sheet of metal on top of a flame. You put a sheet of metal on top of a flame, that's still derech bishul. You put a blech on top of a flame, that's still derech bishul. People could cook on that all the time. So when the bottom pot is full and is being used as a pot, and there's something in the bottom pot which is cooking itself, which is on the flame, then to put something on top of that is not mechse kemevashel, and therefore is not also even midirabanan. But if the bottom pot, which is on the flame, is entirely empty, and then it's not really a pot is defined as something with food in it. So what is it? It's a sheet of metal. So basically you're taking a sheet of metal, you put it on top of the flame, and now you're putting the pot back onto the fire just with a sheet of metal separating between it. And therefore, that is mechse kemevashel. And since it's mechse kemevashel, it would be also the rabbanon. If we were to accept this answer of the bir halacha, so what would emerge would be the following. I want to know, let's say we're not talking about the case where the cholent is burning. First, we have to figure out how to reheat food on Shabbos. So I want to know if I could reheat my food on Shabbos, take it out of the fridge and put it on. So we already know that if there's liquid there, forget about it. You're toast, because if there's liquid, then it's going to be bishul d'oraisa. There's nothing to talk about. But let's say I'm talking about my dry food. I'm talking about my schnitzel, my chicken cutlets I want to serve. I want to serve some deli roll, whatever I want to serve, I want it to be warm. There's no problem with bishul, ain't bishul, achar bishul. But now I want to put it on so I can put it next to the flame. That I'm allowed to do. The Gemara says I'm allowed to do it. But I want to put it on top of the crock pot. I want to put it on top of another pot that's heated up. So if the bottom pot is empty, right? A lot of people have a minhag to take a pan and convert it upside down. Is that pot? Is there anything in there? No, right? Then we wouldn't put it upside down, right? So that's an empty pot. So is that good according to the Mishnah Berurah or not? No good according to the Mishnah Berurah. According to Bir Halacha, the bottom pot, to use the heter of al gabe mecham, al gabe kedera, the bottom pot has to be 100% full. It has to be being used as a bottom pot. However, the Magen Avraham seems to give a different answer to this stira in Shulchan Aruch. Take a look. You don't have the Magen Avraham. I'm not sure why they didn't put it here. But the Magen Avraham over here in Shin Yud Ches. The Magen Avraham, you take a look later in Shin Yud Ches, Siv Katan Chav Vav. The Magen Avraham answers the stira in Shulchan Aruch differently. And based on how the Magen Avraham answers it, you'll have an entirely different halacha le-maisa. Says the Magen Avraham, listen carefully. V'yesh loymar dafka tzli mutter litnoy lechatchila al gabe kedera de adif mikira grufa. Aval mevusher also litno al gabe kedera afilu hu cham she'ein bo mishum bishul de gozrinan shemayitin alav kishu ukar ve'ein mutter ela chazara. V'chein tzarech loymer l'derivyoch mikom akom yesh lahakol to mashma magmisha came the gedera mafsekes odav mikira ugrufa v'shari litin ala tavsha. So the Magen Avraham gives a much less geshmak, right? The Bir Halacha's answer in the stira in Shulchan Aruch is beautiful. One case he clearly is talking about an empty pot. One case he clearly is talking about a full pot. So we understand why in his mind there was no stira over here. He's talking about two different cases, and that's very simple. Says the Magen Avraham, no. The difference between the Shulchan Aruch in Shin Yud Ches and the Shulchan Aruch in Reish and Gimel is not whether the bottom pot is empty or full, but is whether we are talking about a davar lach or a davar yavish. Says the Magen Avraham, it depends. If the food that you are putting on top of the pot, if there is a concern, therefore, that it will be cooked, so then there is a big problem, and therefore can never be put on top of a empty pot. So when we're talking about Shin Yud Ches and he allows you to put it on top of a pot, that's only a davar yavish. But when it comes to a davar lach, so a davar lach is very complicated, because even if the davar lach is fully cooked before, davar lach that had cooled off, you could violate an issur d'oraisa of bishul if it cooled off. So in this particular case, it didn't cool off, and therefore we should allow you to put it back on top of the pot. However, since it's very likely for a davar lach to be a problem mid'oraisa, the next week I could do the same exact thing, and it's a violation mid'oraisa because it cooled off entirely. So therefore, a davar lach we do not allow you to put on a top of a pot. So let's cheshbon this out, Rabbi say. We have a stira in Shulchan Aruch. One place the Shulchan Aruch says, I'm not allowed to put on top of a pot. One place the Shulchan Aruch says, I am allowed to put on a pot. How do we answer this stira? The Magen Avram says, in one case, we're talking about a davar yavesh, therefore I'm allowed to put on top of a pot. In one place, I'm talking about a davar lach, and therefore, since a davar lach could cool off, and then it would be a problem midaraisa to recook it, therefore a davar lach, I'm not allowed to put on top of a pot. So according to this answer in the Magen Avram of the stira in Shulchan Aruch, I want to take my deli roll out of the fridge and I want to put it on top of a pot, but I don't want to put it on top of my crock pot. I want to put it on top of a flipped upside down pan. Would that be allowed according to Magen Avram? Yes. Why? Davar Yavesh. So we see how you answer the stira in Shulchan Aruch makes all the difference in the world. If you answer the stira in Shulchan Aruch like the Pri Megadim, if you answer like the Bir Halacha, the answer in Shulchan Aruch like the Bir Halacha, that the difference is whether the pot is full or the pot is empty. So then anytime the pot is empty, dahainu, an upside down tin, or even a pot which is empty with a cover on top of it, whatever the pot might be. So even such a case would be usher, even if it's 100% dry. Because the only question I have to ask myself is the bottom pot full or the bottom pot is empty. However, that's according to the Bir Halacha. But according to the Magen Avram, the question I have to ask myself is an entirely different question. I don't care whether the pot is full or empty. I care about whether the food that I'm putting on top of the pot is a davar lach or a davar yavish. If I want to take something out of the fridge, and put it on top of even if it's still warm, forget the fridge. If I want to take something which is still hot, still warm, and therefore it's a davar lach, I'm allowed. There's no issa daraisa because it's loin itztane. So, but I want to put it on top of the pot. So, is it a problem? Mechsek v'vashel says the Magen Avram, yes, the davar lach we don't allow you because we're concerned that next time it's going to be entirely cooled off, and then you'll have not a problem with mechsek v'vashel, but a problem of bishul daraisa. But if it's a davar yavesh, it's your deli roll, it's your schnitzel, it's whatever it might be, it's the carrot kogel, anything which is a davar yavesh could go not only on a full pot, but is allowed to go on an empty pot as well. So the question Rabbi say is, how are we going to paskin? It all depends on how we paskin in this stira. How do we paskin in this stira? So let's take a look at the Mishnah Berurah back in Siman Shin Yud Ches. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Sivka in Mem Aleph.
Rabbi, can I ask a quick question?
No. we got to move. We got to move.
I know it's important.
Oh, that's after. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Vilachein at the end of Mem Aleph. Vilachein tzarich li zoher sheloi lahachzir. You see in the middle of Sivkot and Mem Aleph in the Mishnah Berurah. Vilachein tzarich li zoher sheloi lahachzir basar mivushul b'li roitev. Right, we're talking about a davar yavesh which was already cooked, Rabbi Isai. So there's no issa daraisa b'li roitev. There's no davar lach. So there's nothing you have to worry about. Chatan b'makom achoim sheyatz le'esbo va'afilu yamidenu al gabe kedera mafsekes aval uchule alma ein tzliach etziv v'davar shenitzle muter litno etzel ha'esh afilu nitztan ubulvad shloi krevena b'yoyser kedei shlo yavo lechatos v'gam here lo yamidenu al karkos hatanir ela al yedei Hefsek kli rekonis tachteha kedoi shelo yenire kemevasho. What does the Mishnah Berurah allow you to do over here? Lo yamiden al karkarsana ela al yedei hefsek kli rekonis. The Mishnah Berurah is passing seemingly like the Magen Avram, which means that even an empty pot could circumvent the isser of mechsek kemevasho, so long as there is no davar lach. Take a look at the Smichas Chaver Kilchasa in Marmakom 58. Says the Smichas Chaver Kilchasa, Tavshil shu cham b'miktzas u'mivushul kol tzarkoi Oidavar yavish, or something dry. Afilu hukar, even if it's cold. Va'afilu hukafa, even if it's frozen. V'u mevushal kol tzarcha, but it's cooked entirely. Mutar lo nichay al gabi kedera shabei eish. Afilu im bederach zu yischamim harbe. Right? What's the big question we have in the Shmir Shabbos? Is this kedera full or empty? Continues the Shmir Shabbos. V'hu then delefizeh. Mutter gam lechatchila lahaniach b'Shabbos tzlachis hafucha uchedoy mal gabe kira kishe'ein lo kedera melei tavshel gabe ish ulaniach kedera le ba'oifen she'ein bo mishum iser bishol mikevan she'ein derech bishol bekach. Says the Shmir Shabbos, you could be makel like who? You could makel like the Magen Avram, and therefore the bottom pot does not have to be full. So far, Rabbi Isai, we've learned today that mefsek and mevashel is not a problem if it's not directly on top of the flame. It's just keneged hamedura. We've learned that it's not mefsek and mevashel if it's on top of the flame, but there is a pot in between. We learned that there's a big machlekes whether that pot has to be full or empty, but we did learn that the Mishnah Berurah and the Shmir Shabbos seems to be makel that middle pot does not have to be full, which is where many people get this kula to put an upside down tin, an upside down pan, and put the food on top of that, because now it's no problem of bishul daraisa because it's already cooked. It's no problem of mechse kibishul derabanan because it's al gabe amecham al gabe ha'akedem. But aren't we skipping a step, Rabbi saying? We're talking about putting it next to the flame. We're talking about putting it on top of an empty pot or on top of a full pot. What about on top of a blech? Who said maybe aren't we? What's the assumption when it comes to just putting on top of a blech? So to put on top of a blech, directly on top of the flame, on top of the fire, so that we've been assuming would be a problem. That's why all the poskim are saying even a pot might just be like a sheet of tin. So to put on top of the fire with a blech being mafsik between it, that we're assuming is an issue. Let's say put on a different part of the blech. The flame is my front right burner, and I'm going to put it a little bit on the blech, but a little bit further. Is that like I'm putting it al gabe ha'esh, and there's a problem of mechse kimivashel? Or no, there's no mechse kimivashel. It's samuch lemedura. Again, the Gemara said as long as it's not on top of the flame, but it's next to the flame, it's okay. So I know that next to the flame of my counter, that's okay. But let's say next to my flame, it's on the blech. But if I look directly under that spot on the blech, there's no fire there. The fire is a little bit removed. Am I allowed to put it on the blech removed from the fire? So Ramosha Feinstein has a tshuva about this in Maramakum 59. Says Ramosha. Ha'im yesh al gabe hablech makom shedinoi kimoy neged hamidura disimin shin yirches tezvat. What's he asking? We should be very familiar with what he's asking. Basically asking, we know the Gemara gives us a heter of Keneged Hamidura. On top of the blech, is that considered to be Keneged Hamidura or not? Tshuva. Midura shiny, shehurak his smicha. Kidi isa big magen avram, sikal lamaches meirash, vehekera ika machma shetzricha lisrachek tzas. Ubetanurim shalanu lo shayich zeh v'hu bidin cha zara. What is Ramosha saying? Then no. When it was a medura, so the normal thing was to put it directly on top of the medura. You come and you put it next to the medura, so clearly there's a hecker over here. Clearly you're not doing bishul. It's not even mechse kimivashal. However, if you have a blech on top of a flame, so does anyone say, and you put a pot on top of the blech, anyone say, maybe the fire's on the right pot? Maybe the fire, no, it's normal to put a pot on top of a blech. You're putting it on top of the flame. So just because the fire is covered and you're not putting it directly where the fire is, that doesn't take away the concern of mechsek and bevashal according to Ramosha. And according to Ramosha, that would still be a problem where it would still be a problem to put that part on, to put it on that part of the blech. As he continues in Lamed Beis, Heichon mutar laniach al hablech b'Shabbos davar yavesh hamavushel kol tzarchai v'utzoyne legamra davka al makom she'i efshar lavoi lidei yatzei ledes Va'afilu kishiyo sham kol hayoyim mutter. Aval hamakom she'im yiyeh sham zman gadol. Yiyeh yad seledes aser. So Moshe's geder seems to be very simple. I want to put it in a specific part of the blech. If that part of the blech can, at any point in time, bring it to Yad Seledes Bo, so then we have a problem of Mechse Kimivasha. If I want to put something in a specific part of the counter, specific part of the blech, if I'm putting it in a place where theoretically it can be brought to Yad So Ledesbo, says Rav Moshe, you're not allowed to put it on that part of the blech. Comes the Shmir Shabbos, Rav Shlomo Zalman in the Shmir Shabbos, Mar Malcolm 60, says Rav Shlomo Zalman, Mutter lahanichoy samach le'esh, afilu b'makom sheyuchal le'eschamem, kedei sheyad seiled te'ei seledesbo, kegoin ala mechse shel kedera, afilu kazu ha'medas l'gabe esh, o ala pacha mechases alavava shebekirayim sheloi kineged ha'esh. Rav Shlomo Zalman is much more makel. Am I allowed to put it on a blech as long as it's not directly under the fire, as long as it's next to the flame, even if it's in a place where theoretically you could bring it to Yad Soiledesbo, says Rav Shlomo Zalman, you could still be makel. It's not al gabe ha'esh. It's kineged hamedur. Rav Moshe is machmer. The Shmir Shabbos seems to be quite makel, and as long as it's not al gabe ha'esh, he will allow you to put it there because, again, it's not mechse ke mevasha. Of course, we have a very important thing we still have to discuss. We've discussed putting it next to the flame. We've discussed putting it on top of a pot. We've discussed putting it on a blech, which is next to the flame, not directly on top of the flame. What about on top of a plata? On top of a, what do we call plata in English? On top of a hot plate. Or many of these different cases, let's say a warming drawer, something of that nature, right? So we're talking about something very interesting over here. The aish is covered. The aish is coils underneath, right, in the plata, in the hot plate, or in the warming drawer. So again, Rabbi say, if we're talking about a chashash of an iser bishul da'araisa, so then there's nothing to talk about. Of course, it's going to be a problem. But do we have a concern of mechse kimivasho when it comes to a plata, when it comes to a warming drawer? Not just because I'm grouping the two together, they might not be together. You might say by one that there is and by one that there's not. The place can mostly discuss the plata as the warming drawer is still somewhat of a newer invention. So let's discuss the plata first. Is there a problem of mechse kimivasho by putting a something dry, entirely cooked, putting it on top of a plata? So this is, once again, a big machlekes amongst the poskim. If you take a look at Rav Ovadia Yosef's tshuva, he seems very convinced that this is not a problem. It's not a problem of mechse kimivasho. Why? Because how is the Mishnah Brura Magdir? How is the Mishnah Brura Magdir? What is mechse kimivasho? If it's a derech, if it's a way for road people to cook there, do most people cook on top of a plata? No, so therefore there's no problem of mechse kimivasho. Take a look at the Yalkut Yosef, Mar Malcolm 61. Gam b'tshuva tefila l'moisha chelik aleph kosav. De beplata chashmalis leka l'meichash b'chol oifen l'mechse kimivasho. Me'achar she'ein derech levashel be'oifen kazeh. Since it's not the normal way you cook. V'hu adif mikidera reikonish al gabe akira. You allow me to cook on top of an empty pot. That seems to be how most poskim paskin, that even an empty pot is okay. A plata is even better because an empty pot is on a flame that most people do cook on a regular oven. But a plata, who cooks on a plata? The raya he brings, says the Yalkut Yosef, I don't necessarily like the raya from the Rajba, but in terms of the maskana, it is not considered to be mechse kimivasho, since most people do not cook in that oifen, and since most people do not cook like that, there's no problem of mechse kimivasho. Comes Rav Shlomo Zalman in Shmir Shabbos, Mar Malcolm 62. Says Rav Shlomo Zalman, Aval ein litin aleya mitchila b'Shabbos kedera sheyesh batavshel afilu mevushel kol tzarchoi afilu im kavanosai rak lehafik tzinoso. Says the Shmiras Shabbos that what are you not allowed to do? You can't put cold food directly on top of the plata on Shabbos, even if the food is dry and the food is completely cooked. Why is he passing like this? Because if it could reach a yard soledispo, that means that you can cook, and therefore there is a concern of mechze ke mevasha. Similarly, if you take a look at Maramakum 63 in the Orchei Shabbos, says the Orchei Shabbos, heter zeshin is bar b'sif hakoidem she'eshel aniach tavshel yovesh, dry food, kar, that's cold, al gabe kedera shala esh, hu davka ki asher oisa kedera mileya tavshel. Who's he pasking like? Like the Rama, Ava, like the Prima Godim. Ava kasher kedera oimedes ala eish reika me oichlin ein laniach al gabe haketavshel. Continues in Simas Samach Vav. Isser zeh shal nochas tavshel yavish kar al gabe kedera konis nemar bein ba'oifen shekedera konis amedal eish atzma ubeinim yomedes al gabe eish grufa ketuma kigoin al gabe pachem mechases a eish al gabe plata chashmalis. So let's make things very clear over here. I know it's a little late, but let's make things very clear. We'll chazer over next time as well. What are we discussing over here? First question we have to discuss is the plata. The Svardish Achrayim, such as Rav Avadia Udi Ime and his whole cohort, his team, will say that it's not mechse k'mivashel. Why? Because no one cooks on top of a plata, no one cooks in a warming drawer. Comes the Shmiras Shabbos and says, I don't care if people cook there, I care if people can cook there. Exactly, if people could cook there. And since people can clearly cook, and in Eretz Yisrael, it's not so simple at all. There are sounds like, I was just there this week, and I was discussing some of these with some of the Rabbanim there. Seems like there are times where people will actually cook on top of a plata. So therefore, they say on top of a plata, on top of a hot plate, since a person can cook, that would be a violation of mechse ke mevashel. So we have three different possibilities how to get rid of mechse ke mevashel. One is 100% clear, it's from the Gemara. Keneged hamedura, not on top of a flame. The other one on top of a pot, that's on top of the flame. So it depends. Many places say, as long as it's not a davar lach, go ahead, you could do it. Other places say, no, if the bottom pot is empty, it will be a problem because that's not really considered a pot. It's not considered a pot unless it's full. So we said you could be makel even if the bottom pot is makel. The bottom pot is empty. Mishabura seem to be makel. We had a third discussion. Let's say it's on top of a blech, but I'm not putting it on top of the blech directly on top of the fire. So the Shmiras Shabbos seem to be makel about that. As long as it's not directly on top of the fire, you're allowed to put it around in the surrounding area. Ramosha said, no, if it's in any area which could reach Yatzaledisvo, so then you already have an isser of mechse ke mevasha. Now we get into the separate discussion. Let's say I have a heating element which it's not normal to cook on. So Rav Avadia said it's not normal to cook. There's no mechse mevasha. Put it directly on. Other poskim, Shmiras Shabbos says, no. I don't care if it's normal to cook on. But as long as you can cook on such a thing, so therefore there will be a problem of mechse ke mevashel, and therefore there is a problem mechse mevashel. And whatever I would do to regular flame, I have to do to this plata as well. The one interesting exception, which is the last thing we just read in the Orchei Shabbos, something to think about, is the following. So let's say we were to assume, not like the Sfardim, but like the Ashkenazim, that to put on a plata is still a violation of mechse ke mevasha. Am I allowed to put an upside down pan on top of the plata? So according to the Mishnah Brura, according to the Magen Avram, quoted by the Mishnah Brura, am I allowed to put an upside down thing on top of plata? 100%. I'm allowed to do it on top of a flame. I'm certainly allowed to do it on top of plata. Comes Rav Shlomo Zalman and says, even according to the Prima Godim, that didn't allow you to use an empty pot, that was only when the empty pot was directly on the flame. But if the empty pot is on top of something else, which is on top of the flame, either on top of a blech or on top of a plata, so even the empty pot is not directly on the flame, but the empty pot is on something which is separating between the flame and the empty pot, then everyone will agree that you could put on top of that empty pot. So comes the Reb Shlomo Zalman and says, even if you want to be machmer and not use an empty pot, if that empty pot is not on top of the flame directly, but is on top of a blech or on top of a plata, on top of something which you can't see the flame direct itself, so then the empty pot, according to Chulei Alma, will work and you can use it, which means that according to Reb Shlomo Zalman, a tremendous eitzah would be that I take a blech, I put it on top of my flame. Then I take an upside down tin, and now what do I have? According to Reb Shlomo Zalman, I have al gabe kedera, and I'm allowed to take anything dry from my fridge and put it on top of this upside down tin. But again, remember, Rabbi Isai, this is all to dealing with the Isser D'Rabban. First, we have to deal with the Isser D'Oraisa, make sure that it's mivushal already, and there's nothing to talk about. Once the Isser D'Oraisa is taken care of, now I could deal with the problem of Mechzek and Mevashal, and I could deal with it in one of three ways, either removing it from the flame, putting it on top of a pot, or putting it on a blech in an area which will not, according to Moshe, will not get Yatzel, or according to Shlomo Zalman, which is not directly on top of the flame. On the top of the flame. I wish you all a good vach, a good week.
Could it be that Magen Avraham, crazy idea. He is talking about the double lach is inside the first part. Why is it not? If you have a solid kugel and you put on top, so then is the heat radiation is what makes the second part active. If you have a double lach metachtoin, now the 18 of the first part are actively heating the other part. Could that be?
I don't think that's what he's saying. Take a look. You're saying that.